It was income distribution, and this is probably one of the most important questions in the history of humanity, because we all are interested in being part of a club that does well, and we want to do well ourselves. And we have looked at how Europe does compared to Asia and the United States. We are on the decline. We have looked at how we do in our countries, in particular in Luxembourg. We have seen that income distribution is fairly even and gives us a notion of fairness, particularly because government policies through taxes and transfers correct what would be the market outcome. But we have also noticed that there are still many ways we could improve the situation. In particular, there are too many monopoly prices, there are too many state rents that are being distributed, and this should be considered in the political dialogue.
This evening we discussed how to potentially put a cap on executive compensation. The issue, of course, is who decides, who is going to do it. Our conclusion was that the people are directly impacted by excesses in executive compensation. Now that would be the shareholders of private companies and the citizens and the taxpayers for public companies. We also looked into inequality, which is an increasing problem worldwide. And there too, we asked ourselves, is this a cause of our problems, or is it the consequences or the broader issues that we've been living through the last decades? And we looked around, and what did we see? We saw that the last 30 years, we had coming on the stage of the world, we had China, we had India, we had Eastern Europe, 2.5 billion extra people, and also we had the internet. Now that made a difference to the labor market and caused a lot of this inequality that we're living with today.
Tonight I covered Luxembourg with basically three questions. Are there inequalities in Luxembourg in terms of income dispersion? Secondly, what about the level of remuneration in Luxembourg? And last but not least, the situation in the financial services sector. For the first question, if you compare Luxembourg by different standards based on different indicators, Luxembourg appears to be a country where the inequalities are of an acceptable level, a reasonable level compared to the European standards. The second question about the level of remuneration, which is also an issue in Luxembourg from time to time. The remuneration level is quite high in Luxembourg, but the productivity is also quite high in Luxembourg, which allows the country to remain competitive on the international scene. And finally, in the financial services sector, it was interesting to compare the situation of the senior executives, and there we can see that again the level of remuneration in the banking and asset management sector in Luxembourg are quite reasonable.